Hello, my name's Bradley Lambert at the TSSAA office. Welcome into our portal walkthrough video, an extensive overview of our TSSAA portal.
We will start off with the basics. What is the portal? The portal is the primary conduit for communication between our member schools and the state office. We use the portal to gather contact information from all of the schools so that we can communicate with all the administrators, all the coaches. The schools use the portal to submit information to the state office, such as the eligibility reports, transfer forms, and so forth. The portal is found online at portal.tssaa.org. So, who has access to the portal? Well, every staff member that is on the school's directory page has an account on the TSSAA portal. Administrator, staff member, coach. Now, the coaches only have access to the resources for the sports to which they've been assigned, but everyone has accounts. When a new account is created, the portal sends an invitation email. So that's an introduction that goes to the user. Most importantly, there is a link in that invitation email, and that's what they use to set their password. So how do you access the portal if you've not already signed in? Well, first, go to the TSSAA website, TSSAA.org, click on Member Directory, and check your school's directory page to see if your name and your correct email address is listed there. If so, then go to the portal sign-in screen and use the same email that was shown on the school directory page to sign in there. Now, if you're a new administrator, you're just now coming into a school building for the first time and everything's new, email TSSAA at tssaa.org from your school email account, and we'll give you admin access for your school tied to your campus email address. For new coaches, if you don't know that you have an account, if you can't get into your account or whatnot, if your name is not listed on that school directory page, contact your school AD, your athletic director at your school, so that you can be added by them as a registered coach. That's what's required. So if you have trouble signing in, what should you do? Well, first, again, check that school directory page. Make sure your name is listed there. If it is there, go to the portal sign-in screen and click the Forgot Password button. We'll have a screenshot of that in just a moment. Type in the same email that's shown on the school directory page to sign in and follow the instructions there to set a new password. The portal will send you an email. You'll click on that link. It will ask you to enter a new password. Twice you do that, and that'll be your new password going forward. If your email address is not correct, so let's say that your name is on the school directory page, but your email address is wrong. Well, you've got two options: email TSSAA or portal at tssaa.org and include both email addresses. Let us know what the old address is, the wrong one, and let us know what the new one is, and we'll help make that correction for you. Administrators at any time can go on the coaches and staff page and initiate a new portal invitation email anytime. That is the resend invite button on the coaches and staff page. So if a coach is having difficulty signing in, the AD can click that button and essentially start off the coach brand new with a new invitation email, and that will let them set their password. Neither the school AD nor any of the staff members at the TSSAA office can see your password or reset your password. So we'll always direct you to click on Forgot Password on the sign-in screen if you're having trouble, so that you can set a new password and then know that your password and your email address matches there and that you won't have any problems. So let's say that you are signed in. How would you change your email or your password? Well, When you sign in, up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, your name will be shown there. If you'll click on that, that will give you an option called My Profile. You can change your email address, you can change your password, and some other things there. You can also, at any time, use the Forgot Password button on the sign-in screen to reset your password. Let me sneak this in briefly before we get too far along. If you're a staff member at more than one school, if you coach at 2 or more schools, if you're an athletic director at 2 schools, when you sign in, you're going to have to pick which school is your active school. It's not going to set one by default. So you'll want to make sure you know where the school selector is at the top of each page. It'll have the school and the school year. If you'll click that, click Change School Year, that's where you'll find all of the schools that you have access to, and you'll click that red Set as Active button to switch back and forth between those schools. Again, this is only for staff members at multiple schools. If you're only at one school, you don't have to worry about this. The portal is accessible on your smartphone or your tablet, but in the screenshots that we'll see today, we'll be looking at the desktop version of the website. First, we'll cover administrative features, or those features available only to administrators. Later on, we'll cover all the features that coaches have access to. Upon signing in and setting an active school if you need to, the first screen that you'll see is this school dashboard. At the top, you'll always find the active school and the school year. Under the Help menu, you'll find a searchable knowledge base for common issues and answers to frequently asked questions. Your user profile is available under the User menu by clicking on your name in the upper right-hand corner. This is where you can update your password or change your email address if needed. In the middle here, you'll see notifications about current transfer cases and financial status. All 4 of these boxes here are clickable. Sports with rules credit will have green check boxes on the real-time sport checklist. Red squares mean credit is still needed. Sports without head coaches assigned or lacking an eligibility report or schedules will also have red squares. Empty boxes mean that that category isn't required or available for that sport. For example, eligibility and schedules are not required for cheer. There are also no rules meetings for cross country, so those will be neither green nor red. Next, we'll start at the top of the main menu and work our way down. The first option is School. Under School, there are a handful of options here shown. School Directory, Active Sports, Coaches and Staff, Bulletin Board, and Education Report. When you click on the first option, Directory Information, that will take you to the School Directory profile. And this screen contains the basic details about your school. Now, the name of the school, mascot, school colors, so on and so forth. It's important that this be kept up to date because this also has your mailing address, shipping address, phone numbers, and so forth that are shown to the general public. Annually, you have to confirm that this information is correct. Next up is the Active Sports screen. This is where each school tells the state office and the other schools which sports are being offered by the school this year. The sports are initially activated when the membership statement is completed. But you can always come back here at any time, enable or disable other sports here on the Active Sports page. If you intend to offer a sport, but find out closer to the start of the season that no students will be participating in that sport, then come here to this page and disable that sport. That will prevent you from getting any further emails about the sport and so forth. The bulletin board is a popular part of the TSSAA website. School administrators can add posts to the bulletin board by clicking on the New Post button, again here on the bulletin board page under the School menu. Coaches cannot make posts on their own. They must come from a school administrator, principal, or AD. And aside from seeing all the previous posts, an AD can also take down or hide a post prior to it expiring by clicking the Disable button on the active post. Another option under the School menu is the Education Report. This screen lists all the rules credit earned by the school for the last 3 school years, with details on the meeting attended, the date the credit was applied, and so forth. At the top of the screen, you'll see a list of all the sports that need rules credit, all on one page. Lastly, we'll look at the Coaches and Staff section under the School menu. Before we get too far into this, let's go ahead and emphasize that any individual giving student athletes instruction must be registered and assigned to a sport on the Coaches and Staff page. It's in the bylaws. It's a very important rule. Schools must have a principal and an athletic director assigned by August 1st each school year. If they're not, then portal access is interrupted for all of the school's users until that requirement is met. We'll get into this in just a moment, but schools are encouraged to list auxiliary personnel, such as athletic secretaries, bookkeeping clerks, athletic trainers, sports information directors, and all those folks under school administration, and we'll show you how to do that in a moment. When you first click on Coaches and Staff, the first thing you'll see is the default tab, Teams. This shows every sport team that you have at your school for that school year, plus a section at the top titled School Administration. So this is all your active sports for the current school year. Staff members' information submitted by the school remain in the system until they're removed. So you only need to enter a person's information one time. To see all the staff members, click on the All Staff tab. We'll look at that more in a moment. At the beginning of each school year, this page will be mostly blank. So to assign an individual to a position, select their name from the first drop-down box, staff member, select a staff member, then select the appropriate position from the second drop-down box, then click Assign. So there's a selection form for each sport as you go down the page. To remove an individual from a position, click the gray X button across from the name. That will not remove the name from the All Staff page. That will simply remove that individual from that position that you have them listed at. So now back to the All Staff tab. The All Staff tab shows all the staff members that have been added to the school's portal. The email address for the person is shown there along with the date that they last signed into the portal. Administrators can do a few things here. They can resend the user's portal invitation email by clicking Resend Invite. A green Resend Invite button means that the individual has not yet responded to their invitation email and set a password. But that can be done at any time, and that will allow that coach or that staff member to set their password and start off again just like new. To remove a person from this list, click the X button across from the person's name. Now, be on the lookout here. Here's an example of an email address that appears in red. Now, they're shown in red to indicate that the TSSAA email server wasn't able to deliver email to that address. Okay? Could be misspelled, could be just plain wrong, could be closed, could be any number of different things. If the email address is incorrect, click the edit button across from the name and make the correction to the email address. You can also update information such as the NFHS course completion date for non-faculty coaches by, again, clicking the edit button across from the coach's name. Now, let's say that you've got a new staff member, you've got a staff member that's not on your list yet. So to add a staff member, click the Add New Staff Member button there at the top. This form is pretty straightforward. It's also the same form that you'll see when you click on Edit for a current staff member. Name, email, office phone, what type of employee they are, if they are an employee, and the date for the coach's education training for non-faculty coaches. One note here, don't submit multiple coaches with the same email address. Each coach gets their own portal account, plus we need to be able to communicate with the individual coaches. So each staff member needs to have a unique email address. Don't go and add 3 or 4 different coaches, non-faculty coaches or whatever, using the AD's email address, for example. The system will try to prevent you from doing that, in fact. The other thing to remember on this form is that that date is not required, okay? Of course, that's only for non-faculty coaches, but you can put a non-faculty coach in, but you won't be able to assign them to a sport until that date there is supplied. Before we move along, just a couple of notes about the coaches and staff page, a pretty important part of the portal. There's a third tab here called email lists. What that's going to do is show you a number of email distribution lists. You can copy and paste those email addresses into your favorite email program. This is useful for sending group emails to all your head coaches, to all your coaches, to staff members, and so forth. Secondly, ADs are not currently able to change users' email addresses or passwords. Okay, the users can do this themselves when they sign in by clicking on their name in the upper right-hand corner, clicking My Profile. They can change their email, they can change their password. Thirdly, ADs, if you have a non-faculty coach that the school then hires, maybe after a couple of years, you need to change that staff member type. Go to that staff member's page, click Edit. You can't change it, but you can click that Need Help button on the right hand side and say, we've hired this person is classified now instead of non-faculty, or so forth. Put in there what needs to be updated and we'll take care of that for you. So that's on changing that staff member type. Full-time, teacher, non-faculty, and that kind of stuff. Or email TSSAA at TSSAA.org if you need assistance with anything. Next, we'll look at student administration. Again, this is features in the portal for school administrators. Coaches do not have access to this area. Under the Students menu on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the options for viewing, adding, and editing student core details and viewing historical or archived information. The first link there, View Students, that lists all students in the portal regardless of whether they are eligible this school year or not. Remember, athletic eligibility is determined on a year-to-year basis. Once a student's information is entered, it will remain visible in the portal until the student's semester limit has been reached. So here's what you'll see when you click on View Students. This is a list of all your school students. At the beginning of the school year, every school year, all the students will be marked ineligible. We'll get to the eligibility part of this in a moment.
Clicking Add Students brings up this screen. It's fairly simple, straightforward. You only need to submit a student's core information one time when they first come into your building and intend to participate in athletics. High school eligibility is based on the year the student entered ninth grade, so it's important that the year entered ninth grade be correct. Middle schools will just see grade level options instead of years. After clicking Add Student, you'll automatically be directed to the eligibility questionnaire, which we'll cover in a moment.
Most places in the portal where you see a student name, it will be a hyperlink. You'll be able to click on it. And when you click on it, it will take you to the student detail page. Now, what we have in place now, school administrators may make corrections to any of the core information. If there's a misspelling with the name, if there's a correction to the birth date, or if the year entered ninth grade was supplied incorrectly initially, school administrators can make those changes and then click Save Changes. Another thing you'll see on the student detail page is an historic record of each year's eligibility report for the student. The portal shows how each question was answered, which sports the student was certified in, which is to say which rosters they were added to that school year. Students who were added and then removed will be shown grayed out. The other thing that will be shown here, transfer forms, homeschool forms, and the like, will all be found here for each school year. At the bottom of the student detail page will be a log of all the actions that have been carried out on the student's record. This is one reason why it's important not to use or share that school ID login for the purposes of completing eligibility, since if you log in with that, it will only show the school name as the user here instead of an individual's name. And you won't have any record as to who did what when in the whole process. So users should always use their own email address and password to sign into the portal. Next up is eligibility. Again, these are features available to school administrators only. Coaches do not have access to this area.
Under the eligibility menu, you'll see options for students awaiting action, the eligible students list, the express eligibility tool, and a link to the hardship form if you need it. We'll look at each one individually. Students are visible in your portal for the number of semesters they are eligible to participate based on the year entered ninth grade provided when the student was added. We should also remind you that athletic eligibility is determined on a year-to-year basis. So at the start of the school year, all your returning students will appear ineligible in the portal. That's where the express eligibility option comes in handy. First, the awaiting action page. Now, a lot of these pages may look similar, but they show different things. This awaiting action page is going to be your main eligibility screen. All of the students that have been added to the portal but are not eligible are listed on this page. The eligibility questionnaire is the first step required for any student, and if it needs to be filled out, you'll see that student's name here on this screen with an Answer Questions button. If the questionnaire has been submitted but a transfer form is required, you'll see a Transfer Form button. If a transfer form or a hardship form has been filed, you'll see that status here on this screen with a link to go look at that information. You can also click on the student's name on this page to look at the full student record.
Clicking the Answer Questions button takes you to the eligibility questionnaire. We've got a sample here shown on the screen. This questionnaire is designed so that someone with little to no knowledge of the eligibility rules can make a sound judgment regarding a student's eligibility. The questionnaire guides guides the user along, the administrator along, to an accurate determination. It asks simple yes-no questions, and the answer of each question determines which question is shown next. So it walks you through the process. So if there's a question you're not sure about, or you don't think that the answer at the end is the correct answer, you want to come back to it later, you don't have to click Save Results at the end. If you want to start again later, come back at a different time, you can do that. Once you hit Save Results, that's going to lock it in, and that's going to require action from the state office in order to clear that out for you to re-answer the questions. The other thing to notice is that in several places you see those orange explain buttons. You'll see those on the transfer form too. That explain button, click that. That will give you further explanations on what it's saying or what it's asking for.
So let's say you've completed the questionnaire, you're satisfied with your answers, then you'll click Save Results at the bottom. Now, after you answer a few questions, maybe you want to check on something, come back later. Well, don't click Save. The name will always be on that awaiting action page for you to come back to. And once you've saved it, those answers are locked in, and you'll need to contact the state office to resubmit the form. Now, in our first example here, a transfer form is required. So once you click Continue to Transfer Form, it will automatically save the results here and take you to the transfer form. Now, if you get to the transfer form and you're not ready to fill it out, don't worry. You can always come back to it later. You'll find the link next to the student's name on the awaiting action page. That's going to be your central hub.
A feature we have in the portal to make this process quicker for returning students is called Express Eligibility. The only students that will show on this list are students that had normal eligibility last school year. So read the prompt there, read the criteria shown on the screen. If a student meets that criteria, you can check the box next to their name and click Submit Basic Eligibility. You can select 12 students, 15 students, 20 students at a time and click that Submit button. If a student transferred away from your school and back at any point in the last 12 months, do not file the eligibility for the student through the Express option. You need to answer the questions on the eligibility questionnaire. Another option you'll see on the main menu is the link to eligible students. The eligible students list is similar to the View All Students list, except that it will only show you eligible students. Here on this screen, you can also click the Export button at the top to download a spreadsheet file containing all the students and the sport rosters that they appear on.
So just real quickly, if the portal determines that a transfer form is necessary, of course, if you fill it out when you do the questionnaire or you come back through awaiting action and come back to the form, of course, that's on the awaiting action page. There's some basic questions on the transfer form that you'll answer, but it's now much less involved than it has been in years past. You'll want to pull up the TSSAA bylaws and flip to Article 2, Sections 12 through 14 for a full description on the transfer provisions. After submitting the transfer form, you'll usually receive a response within 1 or 2 business days. While the form's being processed, the student's name will remain on the awaiting action page where you can see the status of the processing at all times. The hardship form is now a secure part of the portal, and only a principal or athletic director may submit it. To complete the hardship form for a student, you'll first need to add them and their core information using Add Students, and then complete the eligibility questionnaire and click Save Results. A transfer form may be required prior to submitting a hardship form, but the system will tell you and direct you there if that's the case. Turn to Article 2, Section 24 of the TSSAA bylaws for details about the hardship appeal process.
Next up, we'll look at form administration. This is another option restricted to administrators only. Bookkeeping clerks also have access to the forms area. Coaches do not. There's only two options under the Forms menu, New Form and Submitted Forms. To see a list of forms and get started submitting one, click on New Form under the Forms menu. Again, this is for administrators, bookkeeping clerks, athletic secretaries, assistant principals. Only those folks have access to the Forms area. This is an example of the form listing. You would simply click on a title to go to that form. We won't go over any individual forms in this tutorial, but we'll briefly mention the Submitted Forms page. Any form you submit through the portal can be viewed by clicking on Submitted Forms. Now, this is useful for printing forms after the fact, seeing the status of forms, removing a submitted form to resubmit it with corrections, all right? So you would simply just click on the form title to open the detail page for that form. Two things we'll point out on these submitted forms. If the form has not yet been marked as received or accepted by the state office, you can click on the delete button at the top to remove the form so that you can submit a corrected version. If that delete button isn't there, if it does not appear, click the Need Help button on the right-hand side and request its removal. Each form also includes a log at the bottom, a history log, showing when it was submitted, who submitted it, and some other information. For example, your school's membership statement form includes the packet tracking information when it's shipped that you can click on and see that information. All this can be found under Submitted Forms. Our next section, very quickly, is Financial Administration. School administrators, bookkeeping clerks have access to the accounting area of the portal. Coaches do not.
Another area available to administrators is the accounting ledger screen. Now, you'll want to be sure to add your school's bookkeeper to the portal so that they can access this area also. This section records charges and payments between each school and the state office. You can always print an up-to-date invoice by clicking on the print button. Additionally, you can use the check boxes on the left to choose what items get included on that PDF invoice. This is useful if you want to split items onto separate invoices for any reason. Receipts for payments can be printed by clicking on the View/Print Receipt button on each payment. Checks are always accepted, but we now have online payment options for credit and debit cards or ACH transfers. You can either pay the entire amount due using the Pay Online or Share Payment link buttons on the page. If you want an online payment link that's only for a certain item or two, check the boxes for those individual charges, then click the Print Invoice button. The portal will create a PDF for only those items you've checked, and the Pay Online link in the PDF will only be for that total. You can download or print that PDF and send it to whoever's going to pay it. There may be fees charged depending on which payment method you use, but those will be shown to you prior to your approval.
We'll now focus on the portal functions that coaches have access to. As we go forward, keep in mind that coaches only have access to functions for the sports that they're assigned to. For example, baseball coaches only have access to baseball rosters and baseball schedules. Administrators, on the other hand, have access to all functions for all sports. There are several options under sports, the main one being rosters and schedules. Clicking rosters and schedules shows the sports overview with links to edit the roster, roster details, and schedule for each sport. In this example, we're viewing this page as a girls basketball coach, so we only have access to girls basketball. If your school co-ops with another school in a sport, you'll only see the roster button for that sport. It's important that you do complete the eligibility if you're co-oping, because for the other school to see your student on their roster page, you've got to add them to your school sport roster.
Here's an example of what you'll see on the roster screen for a sport. Every student that plays or practices must be listed on the roster. For catastrophic insurance claims, one of the insurance company's first questions is, were they on the roster? Under eligible students, you can use the drop-down boxes for gender or grade to filter the list or see all the students. You can also filter by typing a few letters of the student's name into the search box. When you click Add, that will move the student over to the roster. Now, coaches can add any eligible student to their roster, but they can't submit eligibility reports. That's the athletic director's responsibility. If a coach doesn't see a student here, they should contact their athletic director and coordinate with them to have the information filled out properly. If a coach wants to remove a student from the roster, they should contact their AD also. Each name is clickable, so coaches can view the student information, and ADs can make corrections there if needed.
We have a much more complete video on the schedule and roster details area, including the news publisher and the media list. Go to the link here shown on the screen. It's a very extensive video beyond the scope of this presentation, and it can also be found on TSSAA.org under the Athletic Administrator section. Look under General, and then there's a link there called Sports Information Assistant for ADs. A bunch of instructions and a very, very helpful video. The next option under sports is memberships. The memberships page shows, sport by sport, what class, region, district each sport is a member of. Both coaches and administrators have access to this area. Clicking on the Members button shows you a directory listing of the ADs and coaches in that group with distribution lists that can be copied and pasted into your email program. Each group also has access to a free video conference room that can be used at any time, and a link to that is shown on the right-hand side of the page. The memberships page also shows tournament host information for each group. District and region representatives should submit tournament information as soon as it's decided. So to do this, you'd click the Submit Tournament Info button to enter the information for the tournament host school, tournament location, director contact, and most importantly, the shipping information. This information is used to ship the trophies, so it needs to be correct and submitted in a timely manner. It's also important if you're not going to have a tournament for your district. There's an option here for no tournament. So even if you do say no tournament, this still needs to be submitted. The submitted information is displayed not only on this memberships page, but also for the public on the postseason directors link in the athletic administrators area of TSSAA.org. Lastly, we'll look at several portal features that are generally available to all administrators and coaches. The Education tab on the main menu lists 3 options. The first being Rules Meetings, and that displays a calendar listing of all in-person rules meetings for the current school year. The second option, online meetings, which links to online rules meetings and shows a log of the current user's rules meeting credit. And then the voucher entry option, which is a form for submitting voucher numbers obtained at in-person meetings. Clicking on online meetings takes you to a list of all the available online rules clinics. Now remember, coaches can only access the meetings for the sports that they're assigned to. In this example here, I, as the soccer head coach, can access the soccer rules meetings. And that's witnessed there by the begin button. Online rules meetings cannot be accessed through the master school account. If you sign in with the school ID, none of the rules meetings will be available. Only by signing in with your email address can you get to the rules meetings. Athletic directors can access and receive credit for all online rules meetings and in-person rules meetings as well. There where it says not assigned next to the other sports, that means that I have not been assigned to that sport on the coaches and staff page. So if you're trying to access the rules meeting and it says not assigned, the AD must assign you to that sport on the coaches and staff page for you to have access. Below this is under completion history is a log of the meeting credit for the current user. So that lists the location, activity. If there was an in-person meeting there, that would show the voucher number. Remember, there are no voucher numbers for online completions. The credit is applied automatically. The voucher numbers are only for in-person meetings. Those cards that you get at the in-person meetings, you'll click on voucher entry, and that will be the box here where you type in that voucher number and select the meeting. Select the appropriate meeting, then click Submit Voucher to record your attendance at the meeting. Vouchers can only be used or submitted one time. After that, that voucher is no longer usable. The last menu option that we'll look at is Resources, and here you'll find information on sport rules books, health and safety policies, and the video library.
Clicking on Sport Rules Books takes you to a screen that's a little different depending on the type of user that you are. Athletic directors, when you click on this, you'll see a list of the head coaches who are eligible to receive access to the rules books. Coaches, when you click on it, you'll see what we're looking at here on this screen, which is instructions on how to download the app, how to set up the app, and the button Request Rules Book. So the coach would come to this page, see the instructions if they need it, and then click Request Rules Book. That will submit the information for the coach to the NFHS and open up access for that sport in their app. The app you need to get on your tablet or smartphone is called NFHS Digital, and you'll need to sign in to NFHS Digital with the same email address that you use with the portal. Now, the instructions on what to do will always be found here on this Sports Rules Books page, or you can get it from the coaches area on TSSAA.org. Just look for Sport Rules Books for Coaches. There's also instructions there.
Lastly, here, the video library features a listing of more than 50 videos pertaining to leadership, success, self-motivation, resilience, stress management, and much, much more. It's a great resource here. You're looking for things for your coaches, videos to show student athletes, teams, leadership videos are all here under the video library. To wrap things up, we'll be looking at some miscellaneous features, hints, tips, and things. These will generally be of interest to our school administrators. Access to the different parts of the portal for your school is dependent upon what position that the user is assigned to on that coaches and staff page. Okay. This is an overview of what the different folks have access to depending on that position. So admin level access for all the portal functions for the school, those are given to individuals assigned as principal, athletic director, assistant athletic director, athletic secretary, and system athletic director. Those individuals assigned to those positions have full admin access. Bookkeeping clerks and school secretaries only have access to financial features, and that involves viewing and printing invoices, looking at that statement, submitting and viewing forms. Assistant principals only have access to the forms area, so they can help with filling out forms for the academic achievement awards and things like that. Coaches have sport level access, and that applies to both head coaches and assistant coaches. So coaches can edit schedules, and they can add eligible students to the roster for their sports only. They can't enter student core information, they can't answer the eligibility questions, they can't submit transfer forms, they can't remove students from rosters. So coaches have limited access to those sports to which they are assigned. So we mentioned a moment ago system athletic directors. Now, of course, it's nice to be able to have that contact information listed on the school directory pages, but system athletic directors also have access to view the information that's in the portal for each of the schools that they're responsible for. And system ADs can request access to the portal for all their system schools by emailing TSSAA@TSSAA.org or portal@TSSAA.org. If you do this, you should include your name, email, office phone number, the name of the school system, and whether the access, and this is important, should be for high schools only, middle schools only, or both. Now, the eligibility for cooperative programs are different because the co-oping school does not have to belong to the same school district, maybe two totally completely different school systems. To do this for co-op students, the host school, which we'll call School A, should add those School B co-op students to their own sport rosters. Now, how is this possible? This is possible when School B, so this is the school that doesn't have the team, but they have a few students that want to participate with School A. School B will add their student to the portal. They'll put in that core information. They'll go to awaiting action. They'll complete the eligibility for that student. They have to do this every year. Then they go to the roster page for that sport, the sport that they're co-oping in, and add that student to their own sport roster. Again, that's something that would be done annually. Once that's done, School A can see that student when they're browsing for students to add to their sport roster. So it's simple, but there is a couple of things there that have to be done for School A to see those students that are coming to participate on their teams from School B. We always want to remind ADs that they can get help with maintaining their roster detail information, with maintaining the schedules for their teams. That information is published on TSSAAsports.com, so the public can see it. It's useful to a lot of people, the media, and so forth. You can assign a student or a parent or another staff member at the school. You can assign them as a sports information director on the coaches and staff page under school administration. That will give them access to the sports schedules and rosters. Okay, it's access that's similar to what coaches have, except it covers all sports. Now, what can the SID do? They can edit schedules. They can add and edit jersey numbers, the height and weight of the players, position, so forth. They can't add or remove students from the rosters. That's very important. They can't do anything that might affect some eligibility or anything like that. It's simply for the schedule and roster information that's published publicly, jersey numbers and things that the public are interested in. That sports information director would be listed on the school's directory page as a point of contact. There is a page on the TSSAA.org website that walks you through this in more detail with a video that we mentioned earlier on how to do all of these things in the portal. If you go to the Athletic Administrators page at TSSAA.org and click on Sports Information Assistance for ADs, and that will take you to more information. Last but not least, we'll mention again our school directory, TSSAA.org/directory. We no longer print hard copies of the directory and mail them each year. So it's all online and it's all totally up to date at the very instant that you're looking at it. The things to remember with the school directory page: coaches who are active or who think they're active. If the name of the coach does not appear on the school directory page, they do not have portal access. Now, this is most important really for fall sports coaches, particularly golf coaches. If the coach's name is not on the school directory, they don't have access to the rules meeting. They don't have access to put in their schedule or the roster or anything. So it's very important that when you know who your coach is, that you assign them, you get them in the portal so that they get their portal access that they need. Another thing that I'll point out here is that stars will appear for each sport on your school directory page to indicate whether that sport has rules credit for the current school year. So ADs, if you want to go to the school directory page for your own school and look down the list, if there's no star there, that means that there's no rules credit gained. So there should be a star next to every sport except cross country. There's no rules meeting in cross country. So that's a helpful tip there for you too. And then the co-op information is also shown here on the school directory. So if a school is co-oping with another school, it will be shown here. If it's not, and you think it should be, that co-op hasn't been approved by the state office. So make sure you contact the state office and straighten that out before things get too far down the road. In addition to this video, we also have a searchable knowledge base shown at the link here on the screen. We have other general portal help information, and as always, when you're inside the portal, if you're looking at a student detail page or something like that, or looking at a staff member's page and you need help with something on the screen, click on that blue Need Help button on the right hand side of the screen, ask a question, put in there what needs to be updated or fixed or changed, and we'll get the help to you that you need. That's all we have time for today, but we hope that's been helpful to you. If you should have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact the state office, and we'll help you with whatever that we can, and hope you have a great day.